What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And welcome back to my weekly gaming news show where I talk about what's happening in gaming this week that's interesting to me. This week's episode is proudly sponsored by the guys over at Verve. Now, for those of you who have been watching this show for a while, you know I've been sponsored by Crunchyroll in the past, and they've actually gotten me watching anime again. Most notably, I've been watching Attack on Titan Season 1 and 2 through the service. But the Verve app has made that very easy to watch anime because they take Crunchyroll and add it together with Funimation and all of the content that they provide, and they put it together under the roof of one app. But not only does it make it easier to watch anime on Crunchyroll or Funimation, but there are a bunch of other content creators using this app to publish. You've got Riff Tracks and Nerdist and Geek and Sundry and Rooster Teeth and Cartoon Hangover and a bunch of other stuff. In fact, since I started using the app about a month ago, I've discovered a lot of content I would have never seen any other way. Now, the Verve app is available on iOS and Android and Xbox and PlayStation, and if you use the link in the description box below to sign up, I'll get credit for it, which will help me out. But more importantly, you'll get 30 days of free content starting today. As soon as this video is over, you can download the Verve app, spelled VRV, and start watching cool content right now. And I think it's pretty cool, and I do recommend it. First off, this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about Injustice 2, and I think I'll probably be talking actually quite a bit about this game. Currently got an 88 Metascore over there for the PlayStation 4 version and the Xbox One version with a user score of 8.7. It's pretty rare that you see both the user score and the critic score dead in line. And I definitely agree with that score. I think I'll maybe give it an 85 instead of an 88, but that's just, I'm splitting hairs, honestly. But keep in mind, I am biased because I went into this game very, very hyped, knowing that I loved the first Injustice, Gods Among Us. I love everything that NetherRealms creates. I love the Mortal Kombat fighting style, and I love the way they alter that formula for the Injustice series. So I knew I was probably going to like this game, and I knew I was going to like the combat. What I did not expect is that I would like everything that surrounds the combat, all the stuff that gives casual players a reason to come in and continue to play the game. I feel the problem with modern fighting games is the fact that they feel very flat. Even if it's got a very good combat system and a very, very good roster, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of depth to the game. And it's one of the reasons I think Street Fighter V failed to capture my attention. There wasn't a lot of reasons for a casual user like me to, quote, get good. There wasn't a lot of grinding. There wasn't a lot of unlockables. There wasn't even really much of a story mode. Injustice 2 answers all of those problems of the modern fighter very readily. Now, I can't speak much of the story mode. The critics love the story mode. Most of the critics I've read have loved it, and a lot of the users love it as well. I have not completed the story mode because I continue to get distracted by all of the other cool parts of the game. For example, one of the very first things I did was create a guild, and now we have 50 people in that guild, and we are working on objectives together and getting each other loot and getting each other stuff and fighting bosses together and stuff like that, and that is just really badass. Then there's the Multiverse System, which allows, like different daily challenges, even sometimes challenges that only last for a few hours, where you can go in and complete these quests with special modifiers to the fights and stuff like that. Very similar, if you played the last Mortal Kombat, very similar to the tower system where they had the random daily towers and hourly towers and stuff like that, except this time you're fighting alternative universes versions of all the different heroes and villains. And all of these different modes get you these loot boxes, which are called mother boxes for some reason, which I don't understand why they're called that. Probably something to do with the comics. Still really weird, though, if you don't know why they call them that. But the loot boxes include customizables, and these customizables do have an effect in some game modes where they actually give stats. There are even like item gear sets that you can complete, new abilities that you can complete that allow you to change both the look of your character and then, of course, the strength and powers of your character. Now, in competitive modes, the strength and power stuff is all turned off. It's all cosmetics, but you can make some really unique and bizarre-looking characters using this system, especially with shaders. The reverse flash shader kind of melts my brain the first time I saw it. It's just weird. It's mustard flash. But either way, no matter how weird it is, this is the kind of thing that keeps casual players like me coming back and accidentally getting better at the game. Now, I'll never get good. I'll never be good enough for competitive modes, and I'll probably never play competitive modes, but I will continue to grind at the multiverse until I've unlocked just about everything and leveled up every character. It's just going to give me a reason to play. But that doesn't mean the game is perfect. Far from it. NetherRealms continues to have the weirdest ways of monetizing their games. Not only is there an in-game currency that you can buy to unlock stuff in the game, but then of course there's 3 different versions of the game. You have the base game at $59. For $79, you get 3 DLC fighters and some shaders and a couple of skins. For $99, you get the Ultimate Edition, which includes 2 shaders and includes the 9 Season Pass DLC characters, Fighter Pack 1, Fighter Pack 2, and then of course it's got 3 skins on top of that. It's so frustrating with the way they segment out their game and try to sell it to you. And of course the Dark Side character, he was a pre-order bonus. So if you didn't pre-order, you have to spend $4.99 on day one to get access to Darkseid. Otherwise, he's locked out of the game for you. And that's just super stupid. And this really screws over your budget players because the cheapest price of entry for this game is $60 off the top. And then if you didn't pre-order, $5 to get Darkseid to complete the roster. But then you've got the 9 DLC characters coming out later in the year. So, you know, that is getting piecemeal to you. So you want the full roster. You're looking at spending, what, $20 more for the 2 fighter packs? It could be more expensive than that, but I think they're $10 each. And that's so frustrating because this is a really good game, but it's monetized very, very poorly, and that really frustrates people like me. But otherwise, pretty great fucking game. I wish they would stop doing that over in NetherRealms. I know that they won't, but I wish that they would. But otherwise, it's a superb game. So this next story is pretty interesting. You know, I like to talk a lot about stereotypes when it comes to gaming, and I especially make fun of those stereotypes with my Francis characters. So learning about this stuff is really interesting to me. So the folks over at Xbox surveyed several thousands of their Xbox One users, and then they sent that survey data out to their partners to try to encourage them to publish on Xbox One. The folks over at a website known as Windows Central actually got a hold of this stuff and released it for the general public. And so this gives you an idea of who answered that survey, how they answered it. It may not be exactly typical of the average Xbox One user, but it gives you some idea. So probably the hottest topic here to me, the one that I think you guys would mostly be interested in, is the fact that 58% of the users are male and about 42% of the users are female. Now, this is not controversial to me, but it will be controversial to some people because, you know, we got that one camp that says women hate video games, women don't buy video games, women don't play video games. And then you've got the other camp that says women aren't allowed to play video games. Men keep them from playing them. Men keep them from enjoying them. They make games targeting only towards men. And I think there's some truth to both of those, but at the same time, I think the reality is a lot of women play video games, and a lot of people that are playing video games on the Xbox One are female. I think it's just common sense. I've known more women that play games than I've known women who don't. I think some people will point out that the Xbox One is not a hardcore system and that it is definitely kind of an entertainment system. We use it for entertainment more than we do it for gaming. You know, Xbox and Hulu and Amazon and HBO Now and stuff like that. So I guess there probably are some women in there who probably watch more television than they play video games. But guess what? There's a lot of men doing that too, so I think they cancel each other out. Then we take a look at the age, and you'll see that the average user is 33 years old, with the largest demographic being 25 to 34 years old, and the second largest demographic is 35 to 44-year-old. And I know the stereotype says that only young people play Xbox or play PlayStation or play consoles, but you look, only 10% of the users were between 13 and 17, and only 18% was between the ages of 18 and 24. And I think logically this makes a lot of sense because obviously the Xbox One is a bit of a luxury item. It was the more expensive of the two consoles when they came out. I think younger people were more in tune with all the bad press that they were getting as well. But I think gaming is an expensive hobby. So you are looking at people who've established themselves a little bit, or the people who can afford the consoles and are going to use them most frequently. People who've finally got a job that pays a little bit, they've worked their way up, maybe they have a college degree, and yes, then they are able to afford these games. Probably one of the most interesting ones to me, though, is the household living arrangement. 23% of people still live at home with their parents, which I think is very common these days. But 45% of the users live with their spouse. They have to be married to have a spouse, so 45% of the users are married. Now, statistically speaking, that makes sense because, you know, a lot of people are married, so a lot of people that are going to be playing Xbox are going to be married, but it does definitely rail against the whole concept of only single, lonely, neck-bearded people play video games. It's obviously never been true, and it's nice to have a little bit of proof to back that up. And then, of course, when it comes to income, it looks like it's spread all over the place, but people that are definitely in the middle class and upper middle class seem to represent this chart the most at 21% for people earning between $50,000 and $74,000, and $75,000 between $100,000 is the other 21% there. And it makes sense. If you're married, you probably have two incomes coming in, so bringing in $50,000 to $75,000 is probably a reasonable amount of money for a married couple in their 30s. Then they also looked at what people were doing with their system, and it looks like about 53% of people use it for socializing, meaning playing multiplayer games and parties with friends and having a lot of friends on the system. There's 49% of users are exploratory types, meaning they play like 15 titles a year. That's definitely me. I've always been an exploratory person. And this, of course, has the highest value to the folks over there at Xbox or to any of their partners. And about 31% of people are achievement hunters, meaning that they are trying to focus on getting a high gamer score and really play the most of their video game that they can, trying to achieve everything there is to achieve in the game. Those people probably have a low value to Xbox unless there's microtransactions. And then, of course, you probably spend a lot of money on that one game you're trying to be really good at. And then there's this chart, which has several different things: the idler, the puzzler, the thinker, the downtimer, the soloist, the companion, the connector, and the contender. But what's interesting about this chart is 13% are expert, 14% are thinkers, 14% are soloists, while 13% are connectors, and 11% are puzzlers. So it looks like here you've got people who definitely enjoy thinking style strategy games, and they tend to be experts at it, and they either like to play them alone or with a friend. So then that begs the question, who is closer to the stereotypical Xbox One user? Is it me, Boogie, or would it be my character Francis, who's a parody of those stereotypes? Well, Francis is young and broke and living alone and miserable, and other than the Doritos and the Mountain Dew, he really has nothing to do with gaming, I guess. But me, I am a middle-aged man who's in a successful marriage making a reasonable amount of income. I'm the stereotypical gamer. And all that stuff is really interesting, and it can be used as a tool to beat down people's misconceptions about video games, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You are you, and I am me, and together we are we, right? And everybody's a little different, and everybody's, you might be rich, you might be poor, you might be single, you might be married, you might be going through a divorce, you might be young, you might be old, you might be short or tall, or male or female, or black or white. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you love video games, that's what we have in common, and I love that. I love that. It doesn't matter how different you and I are, we can be brought together for our love of the same thing, which is video game entertainment. I love that. And I think that's going to do it for this week. A bit of a short news week, nothing I was too excited about. I was really excited about the Microsoft stuff, and it was almost its own video. And then also I was going to talk about Injustice 2 alone, but then I thought I'd put them all together in this weekly news series because that's what it's for. And we had a sponsor lined up this week, so I wanted to make sure that we had a very impactful episode for them as well. And so big shout out again to my sponsor, Verve. That is how I've been watching Crunchyroll for the last month, and it really is a super convenient way to do it. Plus, my Rooster Teeth stuff is there, and I've been discovering new stuff every day because of it. So I'm really glad that that's how I'm now consuming my anime and my other content. It makes it very convenient. And again, if you use that link in the description box below, I would really appreciate it if you did that because you'll be helping support me. But no, if you don't want to do that, that's okay too. More than anything, I appreciate you watching. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon.